Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to Lizzie for having me on here. Welcome to another of her Earth Live lessons. I'm just going to wait another minute or so before starting properly because I came on here a little bit early as per Lizzie's instructions. So I'll just wait another minute and then I will get started. For those of you that are here, can everyone hear me okay? Hopefully everything is working. Right, I'll give it another few minutes. Hope some more of you join and then I will get started. Okay, according to my watch, it's now 12, so I'm going to get started. For those of you who are just joining now, my name is Roxy. This is one of Lizzie Daly's Earth Live lessons. She's got a whole host of amazing people, so I feel really honoured that Lizzie has allowed me to come on here today and take part. So I'm Roxy, known online as Roxy the Zoologist, and I am a zoologist, wildlife filmmaker, and the owner and founder of a website called Zephyr Eco Market. So I thought I'd kind of get started with a little bit of background information and then move on to more kind of handy tips to how we can all live in harmony with our natural world. So at 6 years old, I first told my parents that I want to be a conservationist. And this was on a family holiday to a place called Bird Island in the Seychelles. And there was this man working there called Robbie who was really inspiring. And 6-year-old me just decided I want to be like this man and told my parents that I was going to get into conservation. And ever since that day, I kind of did all that I could to work towards achieving that goal and still am working towards achieving that goal. So I started by volunteering with various different animals, first at a dog rescue place. Then I moved to a place called Tropical World in Leeds, which has various small primates and a few reptiles as well. Then when I was in Australia, I worked at Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary, which is where they're trying to develop a treatment for chlamydia, which is a massive problem in koalas. So it's this big veterinary hospital where they rescue koalas and try and then release them back into the wild. So after all this volunteering, I decided, okay, maybe I should do a degree now. So I went to Leeds to study zoology, and I did 3 years there and then an extra year abroad as well. And my undergraduate research focused on social learning and pack structure in African painted dogs or African painted wolves. They have quite a few different names, kind of under dispute because they're neither dog nor wolf, but wolf seems to fit them slightly better. Although maybe they need a new name altogether, but that's a whole different topic of conversation. So literally 3 days then after I graduated with my degree, I moved up to Scotland where I started working on a boat on the Isle of Seal, which is just off the coast of Oban. And I was working there as a wildlife presenter and biologist. And at that same time as well, I just bought my first proper camera, as I like to call it, which is a DSLR, and set up social media accounts. And originally I was just kind of posting because I thought, well, these are cool animals that I'm seeing and I'd quite like to share that with other people. And then I started to realize that actually social media can be a really powerful tool for creating and inspiring change and inspiring other people to get involved with conservation work as well. And that's when I started kind of focusing my content more on what I was actually passionate about in my outside life as well, which was animal and climate activism and trying to create more of a message with the photos and videos that I was putting out online. And I think that's when I really began to kind of get into the groove of things, find my own niche, which is really important. And I think then also my passion was then being reflected and it made it a lot easier for people to kind of connect as well. But I decided I wanted to learn more because I had this camera and yeah, I was enjoying using it and getting okay photos, but I had no real idea what I was doing. Everything was just learned from YouTube or just practicing and practicing, making mistakes, seeing these dolphins jumping out of the water, but I didn't have my shutter speed right, so I missed the shot and stuff like that. And so I decided to do a master's in wildlife filmmaking at UWE, and currently on that at the moment, although it's being run virtually. But hopefully I'll be resuming that when this is all over, and my final film is going to be going to Sumatra to make a film about the human-wildlife conflict going on there and telling the story of those trying to make a difference to orangutan conservation. So yeah, really excited about that project. But that's kind of like a background, very quick background about me and what I enjoy. But alongside all of this, I set up my own business while I was still doing my undergraduate degree, where I sell eco-friendly products, basically encouraging people to live their life in a way which minimizes their impact on animals and the natural world. Because whilst I was studying, I was learning all of these terrible things that we're doing to the planet, and at that time it was not cool to be vegan or to shop in charity shops or these things that actually do make a massive impact. So I wanted to make it really easy and accessible and try and make a space where that was okay. And now obviously it's become a massively popular thing. Loads of people are doing amazing work in this movement, which is great. But I really try and bring that passion of mine from my outside life into my wildlife photography work, because the two are so intrinsically linked, and how we live as humans has a massive impact on the natural world. So yeah, I think over the years, humans have become almost disconnected from the natural world because we've had this massive increase in cities and urbanization and technology, and we've spent less and less time outside and connecting to animals and noticing things. I don't know about you guys, but from this time I've now had at home, I feel like I've been noticing so much more about what's happening, even in my own garden. What bird rules the bird feeder, what flowers are blooming week on week. And it's really nice to kind of regain that connection, even from someone like myself, who I feel like spent a lot of time outdoors and in nature anyway. So I thought today I'd kind of share a few simple things that we can all do to kind of live more sustainably. Really simple, easy tips that everyone can hopefully take on board. You don't have to try all of them. You could just do a couple of them and just see what takes your fancy and try and slowly but surely make changes in your everyday life. So the first thing I was going to cover was animal agriculture, and this is obviously a massive topic that we could go into depth upon. And aside from anything to do with animal rights and animal welfare, it has a massive impact on carbon emissions, on water usage, on habitat destruction, species extinction. And because it's so ingrained in part of our culture, it's something that is really hard for people to change. But I think we can now, especially, we have so many options available to us, and it's making it easier and easier to make those small changes. So I was going to share with you some of my favorite vegan alternatives that I have. One is oat milk. It's a game changer. Oatly do an amazing oat milk, but you can also make your own. Super easy. It takes about 3 minutes. All you need to do is, if you have a NutriBullet or blender or something like that, fill it up with 1/3 oats, 2/3 water, blend it, and then strain it through a muslin bag. And there you have your own oat milk. And if you want it to be sweet, you can just add some agave or something similar, some date syrup. The next thing, this is something I always get asked about, is cheese. Now, when I went vegan, cheese was the last thing that I gave up. And there's just been released this, I'm going to show you guys. This vegan cheddar is incredible. For any of you that just want to maybe cut down on your cheese intake, I'd highly recommend trying this brand. Also, in terms of protein, which is another big question, there's one by Bulk Powders, which is amazing and comes in a compostable bag. So it's super easy now. You can pretty much find an alternative for anything out there. So even if you want to change 2 meals a week and just start off really slowly, that's still going to be making a massive impact. The next topic I kind of wanted to go over was plastic, which I know there's been the Marine Conservation Society on Lizzie's channel already, so I'm sure they have covered this in great detail. But humans as a species produce so much plastic. We produce well over 300 million tons of plastic per year, and 50% of which is single use, which means it's used once and then thrown away. And because of the properties of plastic, it's designed to never break down. So all the plastic ever created still exists. And again, there are some super easy swaps that you can make. One of which, I've got one here, is toothpaste in a jar. This is a Geo Organics one, and you literally just scoop it out, comes with a little wooden spatula, and put it on your toothpaste like that instead. And it means you're not using plastic when you're brushing your teeth. What else do I have here? I have my shampoo bar. This one's now very small and worn down, but these last 3 times as long as a bottle of shampoo, and you literally just lather it up in your hands and wash your hair like with the lather that then goes into your hands. And as you can see, I have thick, crazy, curly hair, and it works on my hair. I've been using one of those for just over a year now. It does take some getting used to because you're used to this kind of foamy substance that comes out in your shampoo bottles, but that's because most of them are filled with chemicals that, some of the shampoos have the same chemical foaming agent in that they use in car washes, and we're using it on our hair and our skin, which just seems so weird when you start looking into everything. And then another one is these produce bags. I have a few different ones. They have this kind of style that you just draw a string, or more of a fashionable one like this. And they're perfect to take with you to the supermarket. I know it's hard depending on where you live. I normally live in Bristol, and it's really easy to be zero waste there. There's loads of zero waste shops that kind of make it easy to live in that way. Whereas now I'm home, I'm at my family home at the moment because we have a beautiful garden here, and I didn't want to be stuck in a flat. And there's no zero waste shops around, so you have to shop in the conventional supermarkets. So it's just about doing what you can, I think, especially over a time like this, not beating yourself up about things that you normally buy zero waste, but you can't buy at the moment, and just doing the best that you can on a day-to-day basis. The final thing, I don't have any props for this one, was just talking about clothing and laundry. There's been a few documentaries actually out about fast fashion. Fashion's Dirty Secrets came out, which was a big one, because fast fashion is one of the biggest contributors to both carbon emissions and, again, water use on our planet. And we send about 350,000 tons of clothing to landfill every year. Now, for all of the animal lovers on here today, that's the equivalent of about 70,000 African elephants in discarded clothes in terms of weight for weight. And African elephants are the heaviest land animal on the planet. So that really kind of helps, for my mind anyway, put it into perspective, kind of the scale of the issue that we have. And it's not only the waste that we're producing in terms of all of these clothes that we're making constantly, but it's the materials that we're using and then how that gets into the waterway. And in synthetic materials, when you wash them, there's these tiny little microplastics that come off your clothes and then into the water, which can then be absorbed into the ground, depending on where your water flows to, or out to the ocean. So there's a few things you can do to make your laundry more sustainable as well. you can wash your clothes with either an eco egg, which I forgot to bring mine upstairs. It's this little blue egg filled with mineral pellets, or there's something called soap nuts as well. Either do an amazing job. And in your laundry as well, you can get something called a guppy friend, which I actually think MCS might make. Can't remember, but it's basically this bag that you put in your laundry and it captures all the microplastics, which is a fab thing. You just then empty it out into your waste disposal rather than letting it flow out with your clothes. And there's so many amazing secondhand shops about now. There's eBay, Depop, and I know it can be hard to find exactly what you want in a secondhand store. So if you do want to buy something new, then there's loads of amazing sustainable brands. Some of my favorites are Organic Basics. They make really comfy leggings, underwear, tees, just made of like beautiful, gorgeous materials, and they're carbon neutral. Another brand called We Are Tala, also amazing. But yeah, that's just a few little tips really. And before I go through anything else, I just thought that now's a perfect time to kind of combine that sustainability with getting outside more, because getting outside is amazing for one's mental health. So I've started making some kind of eco-friendly bird feeders. One of them, this is a fun thing to do, is just an old tin can, and we have a can opener that basically smooths down the edge, which means you can't cut yourself on it. So I have painted my tin can, and then all you do is hang some string over it. And you know the lollipop sticks, the little wooden sticks, or if you have cardboard boxes or something, fold one up and you make a little perch, stick it there and hang it in your trees with some seeds in. Hopefully that will help bring some birds to your garden. Or another super easy one is you can literally use fruit and veg peel. So here I've got an orange that's been eaten, saved the peel, and you can put 2 holes either side, attach some string to it, fill it with seeds, and again, a perfect zero waste bird feeder that you can put out in your garden or somewhere where you're going for a walk every day and enjoy the wildlife outside. Yes, because it's so important right now to be getting outside and enjoying nature on our one safe walk a day. And yeah, I thought it'd be a nice thing for people to kind of get involved in sustainability whilst getting outside in nature as well. I'm just going to have a look and see if there's any questions. Where is my favorite place to photograph wildlife? That is a very difficult question. Probably California or South Africa. Both of them have some incredible species that I absolutely love. What important conservation stories do you think still haven't been told? Ooh, another hard question from Lizzie. I think stuff like plastics and palm oil has been covered a lot, but mainly from kind of a wildlife perspective, which is amazing. But there's also major human rights issues with all of these topics as well. Like palm oil, for example, is one of the worst things for human rights. Some of these workers are getting $5 a month, if that. And I think often conservation stories, rightly so, covers animals, but I think it would be great to kind of cover the human story of that as well and show that this is something that affects both ends, and we're so interconnected with everything on the planet. And I think covering those kind of stories would really help to make a difference and hopefully inspire some change. How can people try to be more sustainable while at home in isolation? I think kind of now is a really good time to be trying to change your habits, because you can try things and if you don't like it, it's now an easy time to stop. I think start small. That's how I started anyway. I picked one thing a week or one thing a month that I thought, right, by the end of this month, I don't want to be using that anymore. And finding different alternatives like shampoo bars. There's hundreds out there on the market now, and not all of them are going to work for your hair. just as not every single shampoo would make your hair feel amazing. So I think it's kind of experimenting and finding what really works for you. Right. The others are just eco-friendly shops closed. Yes, I have my own eco-friendly shop. It's in the description of this video. It's called Zephyr Eco Market. Yeah, but I'm at my 20 minutes now. So if anyone does want to learn more about living consciously and how to help animals and conservation in your everyday life, then feel free to reach out to me. I'm Roxy the Zoologist on social media, but the links are below. And I'm more than happy to chat and answer any questions that you may have and be a helping hand, because I know it is quite a difficult thing, changing habits. So yeah, I'm more than happy to help however I can. And I wanted to thank Lizzie so much for having me. She's got some more amazing speakers lined up. I think the next one's at 4 or 5 p.m. today. But check her channel. She's had some incredible people on here, hundreds of people. And hopefully it'll be a way for us all to find some enjoyment whilst we're at home and still feel connected to nature and conservation and bringing that into our everyday lives. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Lizzie, for having me. And if anyone has any questions, do feel free to reach out. Bye.